Good morning, Unity! In here, out there. So glad you're here. I've got love, I've got peace, I've got joy flowing like a river. I've got love, I've got peace, I've got joy flowing like a river. One heart, one mind, one love flowing like a river. I've got hope, I've got strength, I've got faith, move every mountain. I've got hope, I've got strength, I've got faith, move every mountain. One heart, one mind, one love, move every mountain. I've got you, I've got me, I've got us coming together. I've got you, I've got me, I've got us coming together. One heart, one mind, one love, coming together. We're coming together. We're coming together. Yeah, we're coming together. Yeah, we're coming together. Oh, one heart, one mind, one love, coming together. One heart, one mind, one love, coming together. One heart, one mind, one love, coming together. Oh, thank you, thank you. We have one heart, one love, one life. We welcome you this morning to Unity Spiritual Center of Portland as we gather and we begin to hold that space in our hearts and our minds and our beings of remembering. I believe it's a cellular remembering that we are infinite creations of spirit, that we live and move and have our being within this field of infinite possibility. This morning we're having the great opportunity of celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and some of the ideas and the wisdom and the light that he both saw and had the courage to stand within. And what a blessing. You know, he said we must accept finite disappointment but never lose infinite hope. Anybody have any disappointments? But they're finite. They have a beginning and they have an ending, but there is an infinite hope as we continue to lift our consciousness, to lift who we are, to remember the truth, and that we are all interconnected, infinite beings of spirit. So welcome, both here in this space and online. I don't believe that there's a finite space that we have to gather. Instead, it's a consciousness that we create, and it permeates from this space, from our minds, wherever we are in our homes, and that we're a part of that creation. We're going to begin this service in prayer, and however you pray, I just invite you to think about the idea that maybe we're not talking to something, but instead we're knowing something, an inner knowing that's in our heart, that's in our mind, that's in our being, and we may have been taught in the past, up until now, you might have been taught it's out there. But the truth is, when we live in a quantum field, that means that field resides within us, it permeates through us. And we have no choice but to live within it, even though often, and I'm just speaking for me, I forget and think it's out there. So we bring that essence within our hearts in that remembering. Let's begin this service in prayer. Oh, infinite spirit, we open. We open to that remembering, saying, yes, here I am. I am willing, or I am willing to be willing to know this light, this love, this infinite guidance that reminds me I am one with all that is. I step forth with courage and grace to do all that is mine to do. And I am knowing that right where I am, love is. I accept that love. I fill my being with an awareness of that love. And I know that all of my journey is sacred. It is perfect just as it is. And I am the one to carry that message in this space. For this opportunity to know that for ourselves, to know that for every being everywhere. Those in California experiencing floods, those in Iran, those in the Ukraine, those in Russia, those around the world, in places that are hurting. We hold that knowing of the infinite intelligence of the universe moving in and through and as each of you. We allow this awakening, and we are truly the channel. For this opportunity to gather and to know this truth and to share this truth, we are so blessed. And so it is. Amen. All right, and Beth is going to share some things with us.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Dad. Welcome. First, as always, I would like to introduce our prayer chaplains as they are the foundation of this ministry. If our prayer chaplains for today would please stand, Colleen and Sherry. They will be available to pray with you following this service in person right up here if you're interested. If you're not quite ready for that yet, there's prayer slips in the backs of the chairs. You can fill those out, drop them in our prayer box, and they will hold those for 30 days and then send them on to Silent Unity, where they will be held for another 30. We also have Dial-A-Prayer, which is a voicemail, really. You call it, and it gives you a wonderful inspirational message. It's changed weekly, so you can call that number. We have little business cards. They're out in the lobby, and you can pick one of those up for a midweek lift. Lisa mentioned we're celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King today, and I want to quickly mention that William Brault brought in a 2-page front and back of all Martin Luther King quotes. We ran some copies of that, and it's available on the lobby table. You can pick one of those up. And I'll also mention that you can also pick up your Remembrance Star. If you were here for our Remembrance service and you put somebody's name on our Christmas tree, we have lovingly saved those and placed them out on the desk. And if you'd like to pick those up and take them home, you are welcome to do that. They're out there today. I want to acknowledge our undecorators who showed up in force last week. And as you can see, we were very effective in getting things taken care of and put away. So if you were here and helped us, please stand so we can acknowledge you and give you a hand. Thank you, thank you. You know, it's stuff like this. This is where community happens. If you came here looking for community, volunteering for these things, we had wonderful food that was made by Colleen and Lisa Siri and Dixie. We broke bread together afterwards. We got to know each other. So sign up for something. You'll meet people and it'll be a good thing. We got a huge thank you this week from the Boys and Girls Club. Many of you donated to the winter outreach. And we got a wonderful thank you. And I know you can't see this, but there's a room full of bicycles. So you touched so many youth over the holiday season, and they said, you know, with your help, we've been able to make the holiday wishes of children all over Portland come true. And Leah and I both decided that we wouldn't print the list of everything they bought, but as you can see, there were a lot of things that blessed our young people, and so we thank you, the young people in our community, for donating to that winter outreach. We've got a big fundraiser coming up in February. We're having a Mardi Gras party. I mentioned that last week. Big fun. We've got a wonderful menu. If you didn't see it in the newsletter, make sure to check that out. There's a list of everything we're doing. We're making masks. We're having Zydeco music. I heard there might be a fortune teller, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, the menu looks awesome. Tickets are $25. They're on sale today out in the lobby. I know we're a lot of last-minute buyers in here, okay? We all wait till the last minute. But I will tell you, with the price of food, we are trying to really get close to our number. So if you can, please buy your ticket early so that we have a number, so that we don't overbuy, and that our volunteers who are making food don't have to spend more money than they need to. So we thank you for that in advance. Come and have some fun with us. It's going to be a great thing. It's on Friday, February the 17th. So I want to mention women's group meets today. Following the service, they're going to be in the teen rooms downstairs. If you're a woman, you qualify, come and join them. They will love to have you there. We also have a men's group that meets next Saturday, the 21st. They meet here at the building. And the 20s and 30s are meeting some downstairs today as well. Also, it is the new member orientation class. If you have applied for that, if you have met the requirements, you'll be meeting with Reverend Lisa following the service today for that after you get a little bit of coffee. I want to mention the name tag Sunday is January the 29th. So make sure you're here to make your name tag. I even remembered them. I put them in my pocket. Drew has streamlined our name tags. No more hot glue guns, which we're kind of grateful for. But anyway, we're going to be here on the 29th to make these. And I have a little bookstore news. Okay, Alice wants you to know she's got a clearance table in the bookstore so you can hit up some sales. As some of you may have noticed, we have 2 tables full of CDs out in the north lobby. I will let you know that those are the music libraries of Alan Miner and Billy Mixer, who donated their music and their books to us. So what we are trying to do by the sale of the CDs is we're trying to raise a little money so we can keep our musicians. So please, we're going to donate it all to the music fund. So if you got a couple of bucks and you see something out there you like, make sure you get those today. All right, I'm going to run through the classes really quick. New class is starting. Reverend Lisa's Creative Stress started last week. If you said, oh, I meant to register for that, it's not too late. You still can. They did 1 class. You can register up until this next class. There are 2 notebooks left of the books. Having a little trouble getting books. We're running copies. There's 2 in the bookstore. If you were one person who needed to purchase that, Alice has them in the bookstore. She's also got White Stones in the bookstore, too. If you missed the service last week, she has White Stones for sale for $3 in the bookstore. This next Thursday, Alan Watson's class begins, uncovering the original teachings of Jesus. He's had a pretty good response to this, but we still have a week to sign up. So if this is a class you're interested in, all the information is on the lobby table. Reverend Dick Everts, who some of you probably don't know this, he was the minister here before Reverend Lisa. So 16 years ago, Reverend Dick, he's down in Eugene now, and he loves doing classes on Zoom. So he's doing a Zoom class. It's going to start the following week on Tuesday, January the 24th, but he is leading Living Untethered, the book by Michael Singer. So if you're interested in joining a book study, that's available to you as well. And then, of course, the year-long class with Lynn Soden and Suzanne Mulcahy, that meets once a month. It's called A Year to Live, and it's a spiritual look at practical strategies for dealing with things that often go unfinished. There's a pamphlet on the table. Make sure you pick that up. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of details. I encourage you, read the newsletter, scroll all the way down, read all the details, and make sure you get your Mardi Gras tickets today. And with that, I want to welcome anyone who's with us for the first time. If this is your first time with us, I hope you're not too overwhelmed by our calendar. But we have lots to choose from and lots of fun happening. If you didn't get a welcome packet when you came in, if you'll raise your hand, our ushers have welcome packets, and they'd love to make sure that you get one of these this morning. There's one in the back there. There we go, too. So also our virtual family. Our streaming team is putting up this QR code. There's also a QR code. There's a neon card on the back of this. We'd love for you to fill it out. That gets you on our newsletter mailing list so you can know what's happening here weekly. And you people who are here for the first time today, you can use the QR code or you can fill it out and drop it in. Following the service, there's a little rose sticker on the front. We'd love you to peel that off and stick it to your lapel so we know who you are and can give you a warm welcome following the service. We invite you to come down, share a cup of coffee with us at Coffee and Connection, meet a few people. We're glad you're here, and we hope you come back. It's going to be a great day. So you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And you know, Beth talked about that e-newsletter. If you are not getting our e-newsletter, all you have to do is fill out one of the green cards. If you're not new here, but you just haven't filled it out, it's in the backs of your seats. I would suggest it. You know, Beth, she does a fabulous job. It's rather like herding cats. She gets all of the information from all of the groups, all of the teachers, all of the things going on in the church that is a myriad of dates and places and times, and puts them all together every week. And you get it usually Thursdays, but it has everything in it because we don't even announce it all. It's just simply, we're just putting out little tidbits and ideas, but it's a wonderful way. If you're here for the first time or you haven't been here in a while, I just want you to know we're so happy that you're here. At Unity, what we do know about every being on this planet is that we are creations of the infinite intelligence of the universe, and that right where we are, we're all on spiritual paths. It's a mystical, hilarious journey most of the time. If we can get to hilarious, sometimes we don't quite get there and we don't think that's what it is. But we just want you to know that wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you're welcome here. We're happy to have you here. If this community works for you, we would encourage you to become a part. I believe every time we join together and we do it in a consciousness of possibility and potentiality and seeing the light in others, we actually move that light and that idea forward, both here in this space, but on this planet. That's what humanity is being called to do. We're being called to see each other, to connect with each other, and to know a higher understanding and idea. So if it works for you, become a part. Take some of the classes. Do some of the things. Work with, today is Gary's birthday. And Gary, just stand up for a moment. He is overseeing the men's group doing our connection hour. And so I'm not stating whether or not this is the place he wanted to spend his birthday or this is how, but just thank him when you go downstairs after the service, because it's such a blessing where people come together and say, I can do this piece, I can do this piece, because all of the pieces together create this essence of who we are in unity. If this community doesn't work for you, I would encourage you to continue seeking. Find a place that is something that will move you forward, that reminds you, oh, wait a minute, I am more than this experience in my life. I'm more than my body. I'm more than any of the things going on. Instead, I'm a creation. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and I can find a higher way than just this. So we're happy you're here. I will stop that. We are going to stand and sing.
We are. I don't think we have officially sung this together, but if you have been here or listened online in the past 6 months, you know this song. It's probably gotten stuck. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna move to the light. I'm gonna speak of the light. I'm gonna sing with the light. I'm gonna dance in the light. When I choose to remember that spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise and shine in the light. Let's do it all again. I'm gonna move to the light. I'm gonna speak of the light. I'm gonna sing with the light. I'm gonna dance in the light. When I choose to remember that spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise and shine in the light. Okay, so whenever we get to all the to the light, of the light, where the light, in the light, can we really let it out? Okay, let's try it one time. I'm gonna say to the light, and you repeat it. 2, 3. To the light, of the light, of the light, where the light, where the light, in the light, in the light. Okay, that's what we want. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna move to the light. I'm gonna speak of the light. I'm gonna sing with the light. I'm gonna dance in the light. When I choose to remember that spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise and shine in the light. Yeah, one more time. I'm gonna move to the light. I'm gonna speak of the light. I'm gonna sing with the light. I'm gonna dance in the light. When I choose to remember that spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise and shine in the light. When I choose to remember that spirit is all, I rejoice and give praise, and I shine in the light. Yeah, shine in the light. Oh, shine in the light. Shine.
All right, and we just invite you to see the light around you. Would you say hello with just simply, hi, how are you? So glad you're with us. Sometimes when life gets busy, and it can get so busy, we forget that part of the journey is learning how to get quiet. For those of you who don't know Reverend Dick, I got to spend the day with him yesterday, and one of the things he's a master at is simply observing what's going on and saying, that's not me. The truth of who I am is the soul, the essence, and just watching it and saying, oh. And I love that idea. And he said, just sit in the silence, and all the rest falls away. And so as we spend just a little bit of time in meditation this morning, I just invite you to remember that wherever you go, the infinite presence, you can call it God, you can call it whatever, is with you. It's within you. And we can breathe at any moment and pull it through, not just this little space, but through our bodies, through our cells. And so as we listen to this music, we're just going to spend a little bit of time in meditation.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. It returns. It returns to me.
As we relax our bodies, gently closing our eyes and turning within, we follow that sacred cycle of the breath. I breathe in love. I breathe out love. The sacred cycle of the universe. The breath in, the breath out. I allow that love to move through me now. I am. I am. In the silence, I am that I am. In the silence. With every breath in, with every breath out, I continue to remember I am one, I am love, I am life. And I allow that sacred knowing to live within my being this day. Each step, each breath, each moment. And I simply know gratitude. Gratitude for all that I understand and that which I do not yet understand, for I know it is all infinite love. And so it is. Amen.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me, sending faith. I send my faith over the mountains. I send my faith over the sea. I send my faith into the heavens, and it returns to me. It returns. It returns to me. It returns. It returns to me. When you're losing your way and it's too much to take, when your will is broken, I'm here. I can be your shelter, be your safe place to land. When your heart feels empty, I'm here. I have enough love for both of us. I know it's gonna be okay. I have enough love for both of us. Love always finds a way. Love always finds a way. If the future's unknown and the path's overgrown, I will cradle your soul. Don't fear, oh don't fear. Though you don't have the answers, may not know where to go, what you need is inside you. Just trust and you'll know. I have enough love for both of us. I know it's gonna be okay. I have enough love for both of us. Love always finds a way. Love always finds a way. I'm your light in the storm. I'm your call to come home. I'm your beacon of hope. You can count on me. You can count on me. Oh, I have enough love for both of us. I know it's gonna be okay. I have enough love for both of us. Love always finds a way. Yes, love always finds a way. 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 Love always finds a way.
Wow. Thanks. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I just wanted to take a moment. You notice we have two chairs up here. I want to say, anybody have their life asking them to do things that make them really uncomfortable? Anybody in here? A few? I just want you to know that this is something I've never done in ministry. I've actually been in ministry 25 years, and I have never had the courage to interview someone. And I've said, I can do this, I don't know how to do this, so I'll just avoid it. So just so you know, sometimes life calls us to a place where we have to stop avoiding that which makes us a little uncomfortable and realize there's so much more. So I wanted to start with that. I also wanted to take a moment. I know we have at least one person here who marched with Dr. Martin Luther King. Did anyone march with Dr. Martin Luther King? And William, you have to stand up. Okay, Charlie, come in here. I just want to thank both of you beautiful beings, for the light that you shared and the wisdom that you brought as we look at this. And thank you. Thank you both. Sometimes it's hard to believe we're still dealing with this issue, and we've only begun the baby steps of uncovering what it means to live in white privilege, what it means to live with this, what it means to live with that, what systemic racism is, what these ideas are. This week we're doing a piece here that I'm really, really feeling so blessed with and about. And next week we will have the Portland Interfaith Gospel Choir, LaRonda Steele. We'll have Karen Trusty and some of her work, and we'll have a professor from Portland State University sharing their idea in another service of really looking at these pieces and these principles. This morning we have Celessie Myers, and Celessie is a wisdom teacher. She is a light. She has brought that light. She continues to, and we're just going to get to know her and some of her journey. So Celessie, will you come up, please?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, and Celessie has brought her book with her, which, by the way, I have the same one. We've been working with it now. She brought it in to me and shared it to me. So I just want to invite you, Celessie. First of all, how long have you been coming here? You've been here.
Oh, Susan. How long?
6 years. Okay, we have been getting to take this journey.
I would say that because she was the one that brought me.
Yep, you had to check with Susan. Good.
Yes.
All right. Well, I just wondered if you would share some of your memories of your childhood and just some of this journey.
I would be glad to. But first, I have to acknowledge my great-great-grandmother and my great-grandmother for making me who I am, because it started with them. It started with my childhood. Listening to my great-great-grandmother, she was not a person that put anything off on me. It was just the way she expressed herself, the way she lived, the praises that I heard her sing, and the hymns that she used. Some of them, it made me wonder. And one of them was, one day I'm going to lay this old body down. I would think, how is she going to lay her body down? But as I grew, I understood that her body was not who she was. And from there, when my great-great-grandmother lived, and my great-grandmother had a part in that too, because she was the daughter of my great-great-grandmother. But my great-great-grandmother was a monarch of the family. She had 9 children, and she raised her grandchildren, which was my mother, was one of them, because my mother's mother died in childbirth. And she took and raised another one of her children's son, and he was killed by his wife. And but that was where it started. And after my grandmother passed, things changed. Things changed a lot.
And
for
what
me.
state did you grow up in?
Mississippi.
So this was in Mississippi.
Yes. And things really changed. I never knew abuse or anything as long as my grandmother was living. But when she passed, things changed because it got hard for my mother, and she became very abusive. That is when and people have said to me that you were born this way. I've had others say that to me. But obviously I was, because from my childhood up, little girl, I knew how to go within. I knew that. When I was being abused or whatever, I would go within. And sometimes even now, I think about, how did I know how to go? How did I understand how to go into this private room? I would go in there and I would talk to God. I still do that today. I always had a conversation with God. And if you would have asked me to do something else, I probably wouldn't have done it. But this is something that I enjoy because of my spirit, my experience, and I want to share that with others. I carry it every day. I don't have to try to impress anyone. It's not my thing. It's just to be who I am. And this is me. This is my true self. And I love it. I'm so happy with me being me. Yes, and so as my great-great-grandmother gave me that start, I remember when my great-great-grandmother passed, I remember her laying in the bed, and then we had those really white sheets, and her bed was dressed in white. And she always wore bonnets. She had her bonnet on. And she was laying there, and she asked if someone asked them to please come and turn me over. She said, I'm nearly dead. She was dying then. And they turned her over, and I remember her face. They turned her over, and she was facing the east, and she left then. And my mother says she don't understand how I knew so much about my great-great-grandmother. But I felt that when she breathed her last breath, she went into me, because my mother used to say, you are different from any of my children, my other children, because I was always searching. I was raised up, I went to church, but it didn't satisfy me. There was always something. And I would listen to different pastors on the air, preachers, and we didn't have TV, we had radio, and I would listen to them, and then I would write them. And my mama said, you always got these old preachers writing, sending letters. But that was who I am. I kept searching. I wasn't happy in what I had been taught, and now I know why, So it was time for me to grow. And I remember even here in my, probably say in the last 5 or 10 years, I always would go in and talk with my grandmother. I always had conversations with God from a child up. If I was abused or something and I was accused of something, I would go in, I would say, God, you know, I didn't do this. And my mom used to say, when she was being cruel and mean, and I would be quiet and still, she would say, oh, you pouting now. I was not. I was in with God, you know? And so from then on, as my mother became more and more abusive to me, and by the way, I want to honor and respect my mother because she gave me life. She allowed me to come in through her. And she was, my mother had a lot of trauma in her life. First, not having her mother to be with her, and her sister died with during childbirth, so she didn't get to know her sister. And also, my mother was raped at 16, and I'm a product of it. I'm the one. So that's why I want to give her gratitude for allowing me and not going through some back alley and aborting me, even though it was hard for her. And so after that, I grew up being afraid of her because she always threatened me. I'm gonna kill you. I won't use the language that she said about things, but yeah, she would threaten to kill me. I remember the first time she threatened me was when one of the children, my sister, she had pink eye, and they had this, I don't know if you remember anybody way back then, camphorated oil and castor oil. And they was in the little bottles, and they were the same color label. And I was young, I couldn't read then. And so she told me to go and get her the castor oil. So I picked up the wrong bottle, and I gave it to her, and she put it in the baby's eye. And then when she discovered it, she called me all kinds of names. I'm gonna kill you. And I was afraid. And I was running, and she was throwing firewood at me. And I was running across the field, and I was crying and calling my aunt, you know, which was by my uncle. It was my blood uncle. And things like that happened that made me rely so much.
How old were you when you started picking cotton?
Oh, God. I must have been about 15. We worked and actually I just met someone. I was at a groceries, at a market, and this guy, he kept talking to me in the store, and so he got his stuff and he walked out, and when I got mine and paid for it, and when I came out, he was standing outside, and we started talking. And I said, well, do you have a card? Because he was selling something that I would have liked to have. And I said, do you have a card? And he said, no, but I have a phone number. So in my little purple purse that I love, it has a little pocket that my phone just slides down in. And so I had bags in my hand, and he had done put his in the car. So I was trying to get, and so he just reached and got my phone out. And then he put his information in, and then he took put his information in my phone, and mine and his, and he was telling me he liked that purse, you know. So we got to talking, and we was wondering, the conversation came up as to where we were from, and we both was from Mississippi. We was born in Mississippi. And I asked him about just like what you asked me about. I said, did you pick cotton? He said, pick cotton? He said, I did it all. I planted it and I picked it. And I said, well, you know, I scraped it, and I hoed it, and I picked it. So, yeah, that was the way life was back then. It was really close to slavery, so close. The people that we were sharecropping with, they would have dinner. They would make, I mean, back then, back there, we call it lunch, they call it dinner. What we call dinner, they call supper. So they would go in and eat, set the table, and they would eat, and we had to wait outside until they finished, and then we would go in and eat after them. They would replenish the dishes. And so, and two, I used to have to get up at 3 in the morning. And Mama would get me and my sister, which was the fourth child down, get us up to go in and fix lunch to take to the field. My sister would go in and get behind the door and go to sleep. She would go back to sleep. And then I had to do that. And then to get up, we go to the field and we work all day in the fields. Come home, I had to go back and then go in and fix dinner. That was my job. And for school, I had to get up, get my, the times when I did go to school, I got tired and gave up. I finished 10th grade, and I just didn't want to, because I slept all the way to school on the bus because I was so rest broken. And then in the, when I got to class, it's when Mr. White, my biology teacher, he would see me sleep, he said, "Spikes, get up and go stand in that corner on one leg." I would have to do that, get up and go stand in the corner. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know. But anyway, that was kind of what happened with the cotton picking.
And I know, I just wanted to touch on one other subject, because I know it came into your circle for so much of your life, was the lynching that went on in the town there.
Oh, yes. Well, I guess, I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I know that we didn't have electricity or anything, and by the firelight, my mother was reading the paper to us, and she was reading, which this was my husband's first cousin. I didn't even know him then, that's because I was so young. And he was lynched. He was picked up, put in jail. The Ku Klux Klans gave the jailer the jailer gave the Ku Klux Klans the keys, and they broke in. They went in that night and got him out. And it says the people were saying that they could hear him screaming all in the community. But they took him where they took him at. They cut his privacy out and stuck it in his mouth and threw him in the Mississippi River. And here, since I've been in Oregon, it's been a few years ago, but the woman that made the accusation admitted she lied. He never did it. And the little child that was in the car with them at the time, she said that that was not a black man that was in that car with them. But yeah, the lynching and so forth. And then there's a little book, and I meant to bring it. I was going to show you because my ancestors are in that book. The one that we were sharecropping for, the daughter, one of the daughters, she now, as she got older, she wrote this book, and I did not know that this guy, this man, who was the brother to the sharecropper's wife, I didn't know that he had killed so many black people, so many black men, and it was brought out in that book that he had killed so many.
Wow, well, you've been through so much. What has taught you the most?
What taught me the most, I tell you, is not enough time in a day to tell you all the things that God has done, God has given me. God has always been there, you know. As you mentioned earlier, you can call the spirit whatever you want to call it. But I calls my mother because she appeared to me, and she says, I am your mother. And ever since then, I mean, I cried for so long because hearing that voice, that spiritual voice, you know, I didn't understand. I come to understand that when I had visions, how I could see and hear everything when they were speaking to me. And so I back into this, and I want to say this to you guys. This is, I know you're gonna laugh, but I get back to that because I got little cheat sheets in here because I put down these words that, you know, like we are talking and something run off from you, and you say, oh, it'll come back in a conversation. But I said, I better write this down because the audience don't have time to wait on me for it to come back. So I did. I made little notes. But back on to where?
On just what give, I mean,
Oh, yeah, I know you.
who you are is such light. How do
Yeah.
you see that with all these things that have happened?
All of these things that has happened to me. I'll tell you one thing that happened to me. This was, and I was like 27 years old then, and I was on my way to work. And I lived like 18 miles away from where I worked. And this morning I was going to work, and it was cold and icy. And I had to go over this overpass. And I don't know, I knew not to hit my brakes, but I was on there then, and I didn't hit my brake, but my car kept fishtailing from one side of that bridge to the other one. And just before I went to go off in front of oncoming cars that was coming on, I seen that I was gonna go off down this overpass. But before I went off, I said, Jehovah will take care of me. And I said, that is my faith. That's how I knew God. You can call it whatever name you want to call it. It doesn't matter. The Spirit will answer to you.
You're so right.
Because
And
it
for those
has
of you
no
who don't
name.
know, Jehovah means God will provide, is what
Yeah.
that actually means. The word that was the name Jehovah in Aramaic means God will provide.
Yes. And that is exactly what I
And
said,
that is-
even though
yeah.
I didn't know nothing about Aramaic. The way it meant, I didn't know that. But that is what I
You
said.
had that Jehovah understanding
Yes.
from your
And-
family.
And so what happened was my car went off, and the police estimated that it rolled over 5 times at least. It broke every window in it out, crushed the passenger side down, and when it set up, I was still sitting in my seat.
Thank you, God.
And I got out because it was supposed to be just before dawn. I got out and I crawled back up that embankment and got my purse because I think that when it first rolled over, it broke the glass out on the passenger side that it threw my purse out. So I crawled back up there and got it. And then there was houses down under there. So I went to the first house and I knocked on the door for help. And nobody answered. And they had these tall concrete steps. So when I turned around to come down the step, those frozen steps, my feet slipped out from under me and my whole bottom just sit down on the step. And then I went to the next house and I knocked on the door. And the lady came to the door that time. And I was telling her what happened. She said, oh, honey, she said, I heard that. I thought that was the train because there was a train that ran under there. And she said, I thought that was the train just hooking up. She said, come on in. She said, my son is a policeman, and he just went to work. And she said, I'll call him. So she did. She called him, and they came. and they was just amazing. He says that that's when they told me they estimated that the car had rolled over at least 5 times. And one of the officers said, if that battery hadn't have been thrown out, that car would have blown up. And so, but as I said, I didn't get a scratch except right here when I reached under there for my purse.
You didn't all leave that purse.
And there was glass under the seat, so I just had a little scar there. But where I was sitting was the only side that was still there. And so I took my shoulder and hit the door, and it opened. And that was how I got out of it.
So what gets you through tough times? What do you think for all of us?
What gets me through tough times is my experience.
Your experience.
Knowing that God is here with me, for me. I tell you, like this morning, to say that God never leaves me. About 4 o'clock this morning, God woke me up. And I turned my phone on, and there was something that, and I'm on YouTube a lot, looking at the NDs, near-death experiences and so forth. But here was this woman, this is something I never seen before. She had a near-death experience, which I hadn't had. But her childhood and her coming to know God as a child was just like I did. She came to know, and she had conversations with God just like I did. And people today, this friend of mine, he moved, went back to Buffalo, New York. But me and him used to talk about some of my experiences, and we would laugh and say, yeah, you can't be saying that because they'll have you locked up. And Sandra Ingram, who is a shaman, she said the same thing, that she had been talking to her mother, and so she thought her mother was just enjoying her talking to her and telling her things. So she said one day her brother told her, said, you better stop talking to Mom about those things because she's talking about having you locked up.
Well, what would you, if you were going to teach all of us one idea, what would it be? What is your wisdom that you'd love to share with the world?
One wisdom, and I would say this, is to go within. Don't try to fix your problems on the outside. Go within and take care of your problems on the outside. That has been my experience always, and realizing that everything is not what it perceived to be. Be patient. God gives us patience. And I used to say to so many people that would come to me and want to ask me questions about myself. And they would tell me, what they see in me. And I would say, oh, you're this. And I would say, no, that's not. I knew that it wasn't the person that I look in the mirror and see was not what they were seeing. It was the divine spirit within me. So I learned to say, rather than trying to explain to them, I just would say, Mother, they see you. They see you. And that always brought a smile. And I would like to say, too, to others about smiling. It is such a wonderful thing. You never know who needs that smile and what your smile will do for others. I remember when I was working, I went in a patient's room to do this. It was in a ward where there was like 4 beds, and it was only him, and he was a young man. And I went in his room, and he just said, wow, gosh, that smile on your face. He was telling me what it did for him. And he sent it in to the higher-ups, and I got a Rose Award for that. So remember that smiles. And I love you. I would say even if you don't feel it, say it. Let it become a practice, and you will be it. And the next thing, and the next thing I would say is that get in touch with your true self. You are not who you perceived to be. That is not you. There was an article, and I put my little cheat sheet here. So because I didn't want you guys to have to wait on me to wait on it to come back. But what was it? Oh, I have stuff, so many things in here. But this is what someone had wrote. It says that, and I don't remember where I got this from, but it says that we spend a lifetime trying to be what everyone wants us to be. We have been conditioned, programmed, and indoctrinated. And I put the indoctrinated in there. And we tried our best to be spiritual. And yet we still feel and believe we are not enough. So if you get in touch with your true self, you will know that you are enough. You will know that the divine created you, that we are all one. We are all one, regardless of what. You know, that's when racism comes in, and that's how I dealt with it. I don't ever remember hating white people that did the things they did to me. I don't ever remember hating my mother for the abuses and the things that she did for me. I kept loving my mother, I kept helping her. And I taught my mother, not by telling her to say I love you, by being it, by telling her all the time, I love you, I love you. And then she started saying it. So that's what I say about love. Say, I love you. And people will feel it. It will change hearts and minds. So.
Celessie, thank you.
And thank you for letting me express it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, I can make it.
Celessie, you are beautiful.
And that is another thing I want to say, is that people say, I wanted to say this. In my old age, people always say, oh, Celessie, you are so beautiful. And I would think, when I look in the mirror, I don't see that, but I know the beauty that they see is a gift that God gave me. Thank you.
That's right. There is grace, there is life, there is beauty. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are so, so blessed. What a gift. All right, we are, whoa. And I remember talking to Celessie the first time, and she just said, that faith that I have will take me through anything. In just a moment, we're going to receive our tithes and our love offerings. I thank you all for being a part of just remembering who we are. That light within will move us through. In just a moment on our screen will come up some of the ways that you can share your gifts, and this is really about giving and being a part of that circular motion of the universe. And there's blue cards in the backs of your seats. If you don't know the different ways you can give, there's a number if you'd like to give online right now through your cell phone. There are different ways you can, of course, do a check. We will receive an offering in this space, but most of it is just realizing that as we're all a part and we recognize the flow and the movement of this energy that is money. Money is a tool, and we get to decide where we place our money and where we have our faith while we're doing that. So if you haven't gotten to a point where you say, I am enough and I have enough, there's enough for all that is mine to do, and I do it joyously, graciously, lovingly, breathing in that idea of enough, I just invite you to keep that moving in your heart as you work with money in any form or any type of what's an outer tool for an inner understanding. And I'm going to say our blessing, and then I'd invite you to affirm it with me. It's divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Let's do that together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Infinite Spirit.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of a great reality, an age of faith and justice, love and liberty. And I sing of love's great triumph in this time of jubilee. Truth is marching on. Oh, glory. My soul renews the beauty of a great reality, for it sees the ever-presence within both you and me. As we live to see the holy, let us live to make all free. Truth is marching on.
So beautiful, so beautiful. You know, one of the this is also Black History Month, and one of the things that I had Martin Luther King on it was a little piece on my computer, and it was him saying, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that." And part of light is education, and I would just encourage you during this month to continue the education. Most of us don't really understand the pieces, but there's different parts of bringing light both into who we are as humanity and how we move forward. The first part, let there be light was the first step of creation. It actually, that word that was translated means let there be awareness. We have to learn, we have to understand, it's hard, it can make us feel like we want to shut down, but the truth is the light comes when we take an awareness of something and we allow ourselves to grow from it and to recognize who we are, and we stand more fully in something that's aware, and from that awareness we can see that, wait a minute, part of it is, of course, always knowing we're light, but beginning to say, wait a minute, bring light to this, bring the understanding, bring the awareness, and then allow ourselves to live something different and be a part of humanity living something different, which means we have to stand on some of these pieces. So I just invite you as we take all of this in, first of all, Celessie, I want to thank you again. She's going to stand with me, and just as we do our receiving line, so that you can just say hello to this beautiful being of light, because she continues to teach me, myself, and all of us. And we're also, that opportunity. We're going to sing our youth in, and I don't know exactly why they're covered in bags, but they are. But they are a part. They are a part of the infinite intelligence of the planet, and we're channels of love. So I want us to create an energy field of love. It's a channel into which they walk as they recognize the light that they are.
You are the star of the morning,
Good morning. Aren't we beautiful? Don't you like the little air hole here? So I don't know if all of you know about our Bottle Drop fundraiser. It's been going on since 2020 through all COVID. And so we put them in a basket, and what happens, they have a sticker on them. And that sticker says that it's Unity of Portland. And then you take a bag home, fill it with your bottles and your cans, and take it to the closest bottle drop. And the money goes into an account for Unity of Portland. And then ever so often, I call and I say, how much money do we have? And I say, oh, thank you. Would you drop that into our bank account? And we had given that to the youth ministry program, which it has been running on fairly well for the last two and a half years, to the tune of a little over $4,000. Wow. And so that money is sending kids to camp, because we usually have fundraisers and we haven't been able to have those in the last years. So this is what's really helping us move along in a very simple, easy way. So if you're willing to share your cans and your bottles, please do. This basket sits on the table out in the lobby all the time. We do not wear these all the time. And we're really appreciative. And it's, teens, are you up there? Wave. So they've gone to camp 3 or 4 times on some of the money, and our young ones will be going in June, and we're very proud of this activity. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And for those of you who have grandkids that don't attend, or other family members, I want you to know the kids camp is starting back up again this year. It's for youth that are 7 to 11 years old. It is an amazing experience, and our YOUers and other YOUers, so our high school agers, are some of the counselors. So it's a wonderful opportunity. All they need to do is just be a part of the youth and family ministry for a little bit of time, and then they have the ability to do that. We have a Unitreat, which is a middle school retreat, which is a wonderful opportunity. In the fall, I know they do the ropes course, and they work on confidence and unconditionally accepting each other. And literally, the YOU, the high school age, is just an unconditional love and acceptance opportunity, which I can't tell you what that does. How many in high school got unconditional love and acceptance just as you were, with however you presented? That is what YOU is. So those are the opportunities for any of you who would like to have your youth a part of that. They are tremendous. If you'd like to ask about any of these events, you can ask Barbara, you can ask myself. We've been to all of them. So, and in 2 weeks, we were able to send 4 teachers this year to their retreat and their learning and their training. So it's a wonderful opportunity. We are now going to stand and sing "Let There Be Peace on Earth" and "Let It Begin with Me."
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. Take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Oh yes, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. And we join together in our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we say, thank you, God. We are hoping for 2 or 3 people to help us move those risers after the service. We have a huge group coming in next week, so if a couple of you will be up there on the platform, we have Connection Hour. We're going to sing our youth out. We have Connection Hour downstairs. I will be doing the new member orientation at 12:30 in the chapel, and we are going to sing our youth out.
The love of God is in my heart. Thank you for this day. The peace of God is in my life. Thank you for this day. Oh, feel the love.